just want to say you guys keep talking about a $20 million roster.
Yeah.
If you don't pay the right guys, you'll be shit out of luck.
That's life, baby. That's life.
Congratulations. You just broke the internet.
The best coach.
We got there, McAfee.
We got a cannon.
Hey.
Yeah, I think it's the first time since I've been here that I'm pretty angry at our football team. And we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach.
Get one more look at it here.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. First of all,
he went up in the air. He did a full.
This yard is telling me don't shit. I should have just flung my shoulder. 7-9, hand it over. 14 ballers, Guardiola. Came too cold, could have caught pneumonia. Put him on when I link at Viola. See me out, you trying to race me.
Now, Shane, we got Lucas Dollaboy here, who's a freshman high school soccer player. Have you ever said anything terrible about a kicker before?
Horrible. Like, kicking is so easy. I can make this. I could go out right now, make a 45-yarder.
What do you have to say to Lucas, maybe to get him jacked up or maybe some motivation?
I don't know. Lucas seems like arrogant. Like it's kind of. I'm really hoping you fail now. I was cheering for you. Yeah, I was cheering for you, and then you're like, "I'll do this, no problem."
Tyers got signed for season 10. Lucas!
Sure.
Loser!
Go Irish! Go Irish! It's tough, bro.
Hey, Pat, I can save you from this if you don't want Lucas to do it again.
Let's get the ball back. Let's get the ball back.
You gonna do
All
it?
right, here we go.
Pat.
This is for $50,000. And also Texas A&M.
Oh, no.
Open it.
Welcome back to the Through the Lane podcast. Today we're going to just be going over some college football stuff. Because not much has really happened outside of, and this is big, Ricky Pearsall got shot. 49ers first round pick a few days ago. He was shot in the chest. Crazy enough, he shot the guy back and defended himself, and the guy was trying to rob him, and he defended himself, which is impressive. And he's going to be fine. He's going to miss for the next few games, but he is alive, which is a very, very eventful thing when it came out that he was shot. But yeah, we had, college football is back. And we're going to start out with a few games. Right now, Florida State's playing Boston College. Happy Labor Day. Boston College is up 14-0. And, Florida State talked a lot of crap this offseason, right? Like, they ran their mouths up and down the field. They lost to an unranked Georgia Tech team in Dublin, and it was like a bad loss. The offensive line, the offense had no really over-the-top attack. DJ Uiagalelei had like 193 passing yards, but they lost 24-21. They had no real running attack. The defensive line had no push. They had no control of the line of scrimmage. They couldn't really get a stop. So it was rough, right? They got that transfer from Bama, Roydell Williams, and he hasn't done well. And so they lost Georgia Tech. They're down 14-0 to Boston College. Right now, if they lose to Boston College, I think they should be unranked. And I think they should be out of it. DJ Ugalele cannot pass it down far from the field. And it's sad, right? It's sad. Starting out, Missouri, big game, 51-0. The first few weeks, dude, there's either some great games or just some bulldozings. And there were a lot of those. Utah playing Southern Utah, Missouri playing Murray State, Kansas playing Lindenwood, NC State playing Western Carolina, and that was a close game, right? Grayson McCall, who I really like, had 318 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The running back did well. I want to look at this because I want to see where the damage was done. They played 2 quarterbacks at Western Carolina, and I think when the second one came in, that's when the wheels fell off. Because I think the starter was Cole Gonzalez and the backup was Terrell Dickens, and he did not do as good, which is sad. I just got an ad. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, yay. But moving forward, Oklahoma played Temple, and then the big one for me at least, Georgia, Clemson 1-14. I'm gonna say this. I think Dabo retires at the end of the year. Transfer portal is not working for him, right? Like, it's not. Like, he just doesn't use it. 0 starts from transfers in the past 3 years. It just doesn't look good. The receiving core is not that good. It's very rough. It just doesn't, 18 of 29, 142 yards. When you have 18 completions, you should have more than that. Phil Moffitt was solid, but he had 16 carries, 59 yards. Antonio Williams, 6 catches for 76 yards, but at the same time, outside of that, the next highest was Jake Brenningstool for 26, right? They didn't really get much pressure. Peter Woods is going to be a monster for them. That's about it. But looking at Georgia's first half was not that good. Second half was great. And I saw something, and as a Georgia fan, Georgia plays that second half, plays the rest of the year like they did in that second half. They're the best team in the country by a mile. It's not anywhere close. I don't care what you say about Bama. It's very green receiving core, very green secondary, very green offensive line. It's just not, again, you cannot convince me. And then Oregon, we're going to talk about them. They have played a very close game in a game that they should not have been that close in. Carson Beck, 279 yards, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big thing for me was Nate Frazier. So Georgia lost 2 of their top running backs, 1 to injury, 1 to suspension before the game. Right? Nate Frazier, the 4th or 5th string running back, the way you want to look at it. He may have been, where you could play Cash Jones. Led the team 11 carries, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, which was huge. And then Dylan Bell went down, and another transfer, Landon Humphreys, came from Vanderbilt, 2 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. He played a massive part in the win. Now, Oscar Delp didn't have a catch nor a target, which was a shame to see. I think he'll be big. Colby Young, fade route in the red zone. He's going to be a monster, right? Dominic Lovett's going to be good. If Dylan Bell's out for a while, I think we're fine. London Humphreys, stud, 63 yards and 2 catches and a touchdown. Defensively, KJ Bolden, the guy who nixed FSU to come to Georgia because he wanted to win. He was fine with not starting right away. Started right away with Aguero being out, 4 tackles. Jalen Walker had a monster of a game with the sack and a half, especially with Michael Williams, arguably the top defensive player in this upcoming draft class, spraining his ankle. Smile Mundon had a solid game. Raylan Wilson and C.J. Allen, great. Georgia runs 3 linebackers, middle linebackers. Overall, just good. The depth at Georgia is insane defensively. We lost a lot of talent, and I feel fine. In the running back room, Roderick Robinson and Trevor Etienne are going to be units. Nate Frazier, wearing Todd Gurley's old number, is going to be a unit. I liked what I saw. He's very DeAndre Swift build, where it's one cut, bang, and he's gone. Branson Robinson did not look that good, but again, Trevor Etienne's not going to play next week. They're playing Tennessee Tech, right? And it's pretty much, they're going to suspend him for 2 games because he really doesn't need to play the second game. Because you saw what happened with Lad McConkey. Dominic Blaylock played in it 2 years ago, played it in the second game. That was a throwaway game, and he ended up getting hurt. and he missed like half the season. So there's no real reason why. Now, of course, you have the depth, but, Carson Beck looked great. Had some bad throws at the start, but outside of that, looked good. I don't think Clemson is going to be that good. Now, of course, the ACC is going to be rough, and I think they're going to be in it for the title, of course. But I think this is Dabo's last year. I think it's Dabo's last year. Who replaces that? I don't know. Because to think about it, there's no one where I'm like, yeah, I think they can move up. Because you don't go after Fisher. I don't know who you go after. Unless Nebraska has a good year and Matt Rule wants to come over and get to a bigger blue blood on Clemson, right? Florida State has scored, so it was 14-3. Moving forward, Ohio State blowing out Akron. And that kid, Jeremiah Smith, looks good because Akron's no slouch. Now, we're going to look at this. They played Idaho. It was 24-14 for Oregon. Dylan Gabriel. I'm looking at this. There's no excuse behind why they did not blow this team out. Okay, I'll give you the stats here. Dylan Gabriel, 41 of 49. That's elite. 380 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan James, 15 carries, 95 yards. Noah Whittington, 14 carries, 33 yards. Is he... Oh, he played at Western Kentucky. Okay, someone explain this to me. Okay, this makes no sense. He's a 5th year of college football, and he's ranked a junior on ESPN. And Spectrum keeps trying to get me to do some weird stuff. That makes no sense to me. But okay, good for him. Defensively, Terrence Ferguson, Tez Johnson, who was supposed to be big, he had 12 catches. Did well. I mean, Dylan Gabriel had a fumble. It was like 1, 2. They got some pressure. I just don't understand. Like, I didn't see that game report, right, because I was watching the Georgia game. And some games just aren't televised on the East Coast. I wish to see this game because Idaho's... This is crazy. Idaho's quarterback was 11-25. This doesn't make sense unless they were just throwing it away and just big plays. Because 41-49, he's averaging 7.8 yards per attempt per completion. QBR 56. It's just, I don't know. It's a very weird game. And someone talked about it. There's like, I don't really understand. The stats in the game don't add up. So I'm going to have to watch the game over. If I can watch the game, I will. Probably see if it's pirated on YouTube. But it's weird. I think they're going to be good. I don't think offense. I think Dylan Gabriel's going to carry him, but they don't have the receiving depth or receiving talent that they need to go far. I know that everyone says there's the second best team in college football. People aren't big on Alabama. They've lost a lot of talent transfers, and Alabama savants are going to be like, oh, Alabama, we're still there. But like realistically, you look at all the talent they lost and what they brought in. Outside of that, Ryan Williams got one receiver and can carry you behind Jalen Milroe. Or who's going to be your running back? Who's your other receivers? Who's going to be the impactful guy in the secondary? I'm going to say now it's going to be Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas are my top 4. Alabama is like 5th, 6th. I don't even know where Alabama sits. I've got to see them play someone real first because of how much change that happened. And it's a new head coach. The reason why I'm putting Oregon 2 is because Dan Lanning is one heck of a coach. And so I think I think he'll get the team right. Texas blowing out Colorado State now. Quinn Ewers, I think, is going to be a Heisman finalist. But Archie Manning played 5 of 6 for 95 yards and a touchdown. That is big. He is the future of them. How did Isaiah Bond do? 5 catches, 61 yards. Ryan Wingo had a pretty good game. I think Isaiah Bond. Silas Bolden. That name rings a bell. He's a senior. He was at Oregon State for 3 years, and then he transferred to Texas. I really don't understand some of these transfers. He played a lot, and now he's probably going to play very little. Because why not? Florida State is marching down the field to end the half. You're going to get random updates throughout this game. Alabama beating Western Kentucky 63-0. I mean, Ryan Williams had 2 catches, 139 yards. TJ Finley, dude, that guy's been playing college football for too long. He needs to go. Ty Simpson played. Justice Haynes. Oh, they have it there on Justice Haynes. Okay, so he's the starting back. Looking at the receiving core, you have Cubby precedents. Really, outside of Ryan Williams, the receiving core did not do much. Right, and you're going to rely on a freshman week to week to week, like the whole season. There's going to be hiccups, right? And he's going to disappear at times because he's a freshman. I don't like this Bama team. The secondary's not that good. You have Keon Sabb. I mean, he's a bit of a dude. But that's about it. Like, of course, Bama fans are not going to want to admit it because they're tryhards. Like, I'll say as a Georgia fan, I had questions. That questions were answered because we played the 14th team in the country. And we kind of shut them down. But, like, again, I had my own questions. Ole Miss had an insane game. Jackson Dart, 5 touchdowns and a half. I mean, insane. Insane. Right? Like, just nutty. Nuts. I had to put something down for edits. But, okay, going through. Notre Dame and A&M game. That was a great game. I was at work when this happened, so I didn't really watch the game. I had a feeling Notre Dame was going to win. Riley Leonard is a great quarterback. Jeremiah Love, I think, is kind of newer to the scene. I'm not big on Connor Wigman. Right? Like, first of all, it's just sketchy looking photo. But he's never thrown more than 8 passing touchdowns in a season. Last year, I guess he played his most, 69% completion percentage, 979 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. Can't stay healthy. Last year with Wigman out, they turned to Max Johnson at QB, and sadly, Max Johnson had a terrible injury last year. I mean, a terrible injury. I think he destroyed his ankle, right? First of all, let's look at this team last year for A&M. Max Johnson, this is all quarterbacks that got significant time. Max Johnson, Connor Wigman, Jalen Henderson, and Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed, I think, played towards the end of the season because Jalen Henderson got hurt, and so did Max Johnson. It's rough. Anaya Smith was the starting receiver. Dude, that is tough. Max Johnson, again, he debuted around the same time TJ Finley did. It was at LSU 2 years, A&M 2 years, and then UNC, and he goes down and is out for the season. I don't know. He'll get granted another year because the injury, but at the same time, like, mini cameo. I want to see if those quarterbacks are still there. Marcel Reed is, and Jalen Henderson. Jalen Henderson's a junior. Marcel Reed's a freshman, redshirt freshman. So, if I'm A&M, I'm looking into playing those 2 guys. Now, of course, Wigman probably won the fall battle, but I'm not sold on him. Like, practice and game reps are 2 different things, right? 2 very different things. I don't know if they have the receiving talent, right? They lost a lot of the top defensive recruits that they had. A lot of it went to Ole Miss. Speaking of that, in Ole Miss, Minnie has been napping all day. She's my co-host for the day. Say hi to the camera. But Walter Nolan, he's at top D tackle for a bit. And Cam Franklin as well. Walter Nolan, yeah, he had a tackle for a loss. That's solid. Made an impact. Penn State, West Virginia. Pat McAfee was gassing West Virginia up all week, and they got beat up. Drew Allard, Noah Singleton played great. Drew Allard, 216, 3 touchdowns is the big part, but the 216 bothers me. West Virginia, you can't take them seriously, right? Now, looking at this, and this is interesting. Davis Warren got outthrown. This is where I'm like not sold on Michigan. I think Michigan's going to be bad, right? Davis Warren, Fresno State's quarterback, outthrew Michigan's quarterback. Michigan's quarterback Davis Warren went 15-25, 118 yards, a touchdown, and interception. It's not good. That's just not good. Colson Loveland, the tight end, was the leading receiver. Just not good at all. They had 3 sacks, but they came from 2 dudes. It just does not look good. I mean, you can't tell me you take Michigan serious. Michigan and Alabama, I need to see more from. Tennessee, they'll be running their mouths all week long about how they're good, but they beat Chattanooga 69-3. If they didn't, they scored under 50, I'd be concerned. Nico had 314, 3 touchdowns. Dylan Simpson 12 for 124 yards. These games like that, you've got to be like, play a real team. And then let's see. Instead of playing some small school, you paying them millions to play. Oklahoma State played South Dakota State 44-20. Alan Bowman, who's been in college football since like 2018, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ollie Gordon. I think Oklahoma State's just going to be a team that contends in their, conference. If they make it, in one of the last like 3 spots, 9 through 12. I just don't. Alan Bowman does not. You've been in college football 7 years. There's a reason behind that. I just don't think. I'm not that scared of them. A team I'm more scared of would be Kansas State. They debuted what this team was going to be like in the bowl game. Avery Johnson's going to be using his legs. I kind of just want to look at what the stats had. They played UT Martin, so of course, I'm not going to look too much into it. He had 3 rushes, 37 yards. He did throw a pick, made 2 touchdowns. I think they're better than Oklahoma State. Well, personally, I think we'll see that play out at some point during the season. I think they may play each other, but moving forward, and this is big. And this can be a bigger topic. Miami played Florida, and if this is right, let me look this up. There was a safety with 8 sacks. Let's just go. So there was a safety that had like 10 sacks, 8 sacks, and it made no sense, right? Like it just did not make a lick of sense. And I don't know. Yeah. What is this? New Mexico's safety had 8 sacks. We're gonna get into that game. Okay, we're gonna get into that game. Because that's just bonkers. But Miami beat the dog piss out of Florida. Graham Mertz, who I don't think is that good. Like, he just doesn't have a deep ball threat. And, of course, they don't really have anybody to throw downfield to. Also, the Eugene Wilson. But, again, just don't have anybody. Montrell Johnson's a solid running back. DJ Lagway's the future. I think Billy Napier's gotta go. There's a video, and I'll post it. It'll be all the stuff. I want to have videos leading up to the podcast of him, like, and it's just going to be stuff from the weekend. He's, like, struggling to open a water bottle. Like, come on, dude. You've got to be better than that. Cam Ward played great, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think Miami's going to be an interesting factor because Damian Martinez had a stroke. Oregon State, who's a big running back there, is the starting running back now. Cam Ward, who I think is a first-round quarterback, is there now. It's got some dogs defensively, right? I mean, they harass Graham Mertz. I just don't think Florida's that good. I mean, I just don't. Florida and Tennessee both, like, fluctuate. They're never good together. Either Tennessee's good and Florida's terrible, or Florida's good and Tennessee's terrible. There's no happy middle. And right now, Tennessee's going to be good, sadly, because Tennessee fans are nauseating. So Tennessee and Alabama are just not going to be good. And okay, Tennessee's going to be, so they're going to be good. Do I think they're going to be real contenders? No, I think they may be back half of the playoffs because it's 12 teams, contenders. Do I think they have anything to do with the SEC? No. No. You watch that Clemson game with Georgia, and you tell me who you think is going to be who's the best team. Teams that blew out some small schools, or a team that played the 14th team in the country and scored half the points they did. All right, that sounds bad, but like you watch the game. The third, fourth string running back, your top defensive player goes down. I mean, they only allowed 3 points. So, again, it's my take on it. There are cats all around me. Moving forward. Yeah, okay, so New Mexico and Arizona. And this is a wild game because when I fell asleep at one point last night, it was 24-24. Right? The score 61-30 ended up being 61-39. Noah Fifta, butcher that name, is a unit sophomore. 4 touchdowns, 422 yards. That guy's going to be good. I think he'll be the Heisman, not this year, but next year because of the loaded quarterback group this year. Devon Dampier played good, 2 interceptions, unacceptable, but he had 15 carries, 130 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Bonkers that your quarterback is that dude, and he's a sophomore. I mean, that's a dude. That's a dude. That's what I call a dude. And I'll probably make a section of dudes of the week. And if I would be the dude, one of the dudes of the week would be Devon Dampier. Ja'Cory Crosey-Merritt played really good. But Terrell McMillan, another dude of the week, would be Teratora McMillan. Right? And next episode, we will have dudes of the week. Tim Ketchy's a junior. I think he's going to be top pick in the draft. I liked him last year, and I like him this year. 10 catches, 304 yards. 30.4 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. Bonkers. Now, I missed the part where Christian Ellis, the safety, had 8 sacks. I really would love to know how that's physically possible, because most safeties get 8 sacks over a span of a 4-year career. That's with 2 a year. He got that in one game. Some safeties never sniff 8 sacks, and that's top safeties from the time they enter college to the time they retire in the NFL. I fell asleep at bedtime, and that's a dude. That's a dude. That's just crazy. Next week, dudes of the week, we'll also have NFL players. Highlighting some guys I don't think were highlighted. Like Teratora, we're going to say McMillan and Devon Dampier. Dudes. I mean, just the 2 interceptions are like kind of downers, but like three passing touchdowns, and he runs 15 carries for 130 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. That's a dog. That's a dog. Noah Fifta, fantastic performance. Going into the half now for Boston College and FSU, it's 14-6. They kicked the field goal. Wow. As you can tell, I'm not high on them. And then last night's game. USC and LSU. Miller Moss had 378 yards, 1 touchdown. Woody Marks, that game, the end of that game is like a movie. And again, the clip from Brian Kelly is going to be at the beginning of the episode where he's like banging on the table like, I'm mad. We all knew beforehand Brian Kelly's not a big-time coach. Like, not a big-time coach at all. I guess the dude of this game would be Kyron Hudson. That brother made some catches. And Miller Moss. Those were the 2 dudes of the week, of the game. Zachary Branch was solid, but I mean, again, he's supposed to be. Looking at this, I mean, Barry Alexander from Georgia. Bummer. LSU played good. Harold Perkins, I don't know what's going on, but outside of his freshman year, he's kind of been hot or cold. Major Burns had a major Wow, how ironic is that? Major Burns had a major penalty that kind of kicked him in the butt. So, yeah, really, if you look at Harold Perkins' stats as a whole, a freshman getting 7.5 sacks is huge, right? As a sophomore, 5.5 sacks. He's just not, it's going down. And it's concerning, right? Like, it's just concerning. He had 8 tackles, like, apparently, against them. I didn't see him rush the passer as much, right? Like, I just didn't see him rush the passer. I didn't watch the whole game. The receiving, Kyron Lacy looked good. Garrett Nussmeier is a dog. I mean, when he played against Georgia 2 years ago as a freshman, dude has a cannon. I mean, just a cannon as a quarterback. He's what would be his senior year, but he's ranked as a junior, and he had a cannon. Like, I mean, most of his yards in 2022 came against Georgia in a half when Jaden Daniels went down. Right? Dude's got a beautiful, like, cannon. Like, he just throws real well. John Emery was a top recruiting prospect. He's starting to show. I mean, I talked to one of my coworkers who he also came on the podcast, Thomas Mooney. He talked about John Emery. He's supposed to be that running back moving forward, and it looks like he's starting to show it. He was big on Kyron Lacy. I'm talking about how, like, you know, Harold Perkins got to be more involved. Harold Perkins, you know, eight total tackles, but he's got to be bigger into it. Major Burns from Georgia, 6 tackles. That penalty, though, is huge, right? It's huge. So, yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like. We're going to take a quick gander at the BC FSU game. Oh, Lord. DJ Ugalele is 8 of 21, 108 yards. That's just rough. Thomas Costellos is 9 of 12, 102 yards. There's just no talent in the receiving core in Florida State at all. At all. I just don't. It's going to be a long year for them. I believe. But moving forward, so looking at next week's schedule, right? Week 2. Let's see if there's really, big game of the week will be Texas, Michigan. It's 11 a.m. game. You bet your butt I'm watching that game. Let's look at this. Iowa State. I mean, it's going to be Tennessee versus NC State. If Tennessee blows the doors off NC State, I'll be more terrified of Tennessee, right? But I think Tennessee's too young. Those are the big games, right? Stats. Shadur. Oh, we've got to talk about Colorado and NDSU, right? Okay. Colorado and NDSU. That was a dogfight, and and Dion kind of alluded to it, he's pissed. I'd be pissed too. You barely beat an FCS team. Now, credit NDSU, I've said this all along, is a great team. Like, a fantastic team. But there's no real reason behind why it should be that close. Travis Hunter's like a cheat code. Like, I will say that now. Travis Hunter's a cheat code. Shadur Sanders, 445 yards. Travis Hunter had 3 touchdowns. Shadur threw 4. 3 of them were to Shadur or Travis. Travis Hunter, while he's getting like meat. How can I say this appropriately? Bear hugged. Yeah, bear hugged. He's like doing this, catching the ball. Incredible strength. I mean, it was insane, right? Another dude would be Cal Effort from Georgia Tech. The brother's scary. Another dude would be Travis Hunter. Shooter puts. I say he puts up. It's like empty calories. Puts up empty stats. But he had it like it was a big game It was huge. And Jimmy Horn had 198 yards. So I'm not sold on Colorado. They have no rushing attack. Defensive line gets pushed around. NDSU was running up and down the field on them. Shiloh Sanders made some boneheaded decisions and choices that could have cost the team dearly. But again, he got cut free with that. Shadur, he took some hits, some wild hits, and he got up and shook them off. And kudos to him. I'm not big. I think they talk too much crap for how bad of a team they are. But Travis Hunter and Shadur are dogs. And Travis Hunter, or not Travis, but Shadur, one of his biggest things is poise and his leadership. And you saw it. I mean, the brother looking down the barrel of a big linebacker and said, I'm going to dime it to Travis. And then take the shot in the face mask. And Travis Hunter make a play. And they were arguing on the sideline. Catch the ball, Travis. Just get ready. Dots it to him. The fact that I think Travis Hunter, if he's going to be an elite receiver, he'll be a solid corner. I don't know if he can be elite both ways if he plays the whole game. But if he takes some possessions off, he's elite both ways. There were times last night, not last night, but when they played, that he was getting kind of beat at corner. At receiver, I think he's arguably the best receiver in college football. Hands down. I know there was a point where they're like he's the best corner. I don't see that. He wasn't as dominant against NDSU. I saw at times NDSU pick on him. But as a receiver, good Lord, you can't. I mean, there is a guy on top of him, and you see him like doing this behind the dude's back. Would you put your hands up on Coach and say, Coach, I was defensive pass interference in that man, and he caught the ball. What do you want me to do? But it was a great week of college football. It's amazing to see it's back. I mean, you just love to see college football back. It's an amazing time of the year. Ohio State's going to be good this year, too. I just think Alabama and Michigan and Tennessee aren't there yet. I think Alabama's going to be a poser. 100%. Michigan, I think Michigan's going to get showed up here. And Florida and Alabama and Tennessee will both, but I think that everyone needs to slow down the hype train, especially Michigan fans and Alabama fans. Tennessee fans, Nika is solid, and you've got some talent. And we'll see if you beat the brakes off NC State this week. But yeah, that's all for today's episode. I'll see you all next time.